Today we are going to talk about some of the weirdest things that we have found about living in Ocean Shores.
If you live in Ocean Shores or if you love Ocean Shores, we're not saying that it's weird, but there are some odd and unique things about it.
And as a side note, Crystal and I are both from the Seattle area, and we moved here from the city. So these are all weird or different things for us, coming from people who moved here from the city. Number one, it's really weird. Probably only a couple months out of the year that you will not be wearing winter clothes to the beach. We're always bundled up because it's cooler. It's a cooler climate here, and it's windy. So even though we'll get like sunny days, it's still quite chilly.
I would say probably between the months of October to March, you'll always see me on the beach wearing my thick puffy coat because it's so cold and so windy.
Number two, and this kind of goes along with it, and something that you'll also see people wearing on the beach is rain boots, thick winter boots, especially when people are going clamming and things. Part of your attire living here is going to be some thick waterproof boots.
Even in the summertime, people still wear their rain boots to the beach. So you could either walk barefoot on the beach, and if you're not going to do that, then wear your rain boots.
On the main beach, I don't really like walking barefoot as much. I think because there's cars driving all over, and the sand is
dirty.
Yeah. So when we're at Damon Point or the North Jetty Beach, then you'll see us walking barefoot. But every time along the main beach, we're wearing full on wearing shoes or rain boots.
Yeah. But in the summer, there's nothing like walking barefoot on the beach when the sand is warm. It's the best.
When I first moved here, we went to one of the shops. It's called Namaste, and they sold essential oils, crystals, things like that.
Candles.
And one of the things she said is, if you think about it, sand is all just ground up crystals. And so when you're walking barefoot on the beach, so that's why you hear a lot of people say they're grounding when you're touching your feet to the soil or the sand, and it just makes you feel so good. But it's actually been scientifically proven that putting your bare feet on the sand recharges your body. So there's just another fun fact that I learned from Namaste in Ocean Shores. Number three, if you've ever noticed those candy cane looking pipes, people ask us what they are all the time, and it's in relation to the sewer system here in Ocean Shores. And so I'm just going to read it off of here. The candy cane sewer pipe's job is to prevent the vacuum system from drawing water from plumbing traps that block sewer gas from entering the home when sewage is vacuumed from the underground sumps. So that's what they are. You'll see them at every property that has connection to sewer.
The next weird thing about Ocean Shores is that there are deer everywhere. You step outside, there's 5 deer grazing on the grass in your front yard. So it's very cute and very strange.
And it's strange how comfortable they are. They'll see cars driving by and they don't care. They won't run away to try to get out of your way. They might even go slower and just look at you.
And you're not supposed to feed them, but I definitely think that people feed them because they're not afraid of people. In fact, if you get close to them and hold out your hand or something, they will come over to you, and look for food.
They're hoping for a snack. Every single day you're gonna see deer, but it's just a funny thing is no matter how often you see them, you still slow down, and we'll still take videos, pictures of the little baby deer, even when you see them every day.
I like to take pictures or video and send them to my friends.
I
think they're sick of them now. They're just like, okay.
Like, get a life.
Yeah, like I've seen this before.
We were sitting in the back of our listing the other day, and there was two of the female the does. They were fighting. They were like getting super aggressive with each other, remember? And we're like,
Oh yeah, they were trying to step on each other.
yeah,
Something, yeah.
they were just like poking each other, and we were like, this is our life now. We
Fighting,
sit in
yeah.
the backyard.
It was
and watch the
entertaining.
deer.
Yeah, I remembered that now. We were just like, whoa. And I think you were filming it and I was commentating. And we didn't realize how into it we actually were.
So
If you're liking our video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos.
Next weird thing, and you might see on some of the trash cans, there are bear-proof trash cans because bears like to go dumpster diving. And like when I first moved here, we were gone for the weekend, and I came back. We noticed there was like little pieces of trash around our yard, and found out from our neighbor that the bear had just gotten into our garbage, and it was just all over our entire front yard. And the crazy thing was, our neighbors picked up all the garbage in our yard, which I don't think would have happened living in Seattle. But yeah, the bears will get into your trash cans, and so they actually have locks. They have bear-proof trash cans that you physically will lock with the lock-in key.
We have a bungee that kind of like you could secure the lid so they can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You have to be
And
strategic
you don't,
with
yeah.
that.
Moving here, you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes something like that happens, and then you're like, oh, I need to get a lock for my garbage.
Yeah, right? Who would have thought? Speaking of garbage, another weird thing coming from Seattle is they don't have yard waste here. And so like in Seattle, everyone would have a huge yard waste that you would put your food waste in, and everyone does food waste. Here they don't pick up your yard waste, so you have to go drop it off yourself. Some people do their own compost. I haven't done that only because there is so much wildlife, and I feel like it would attract more wildlife. And also the recycling doesn't take glass, so you actually have to take that to a separate location to drop off your glass, and then you even separate it by green glass, brown glass, clear glass.
Fun.
I know.
Fun
I
stuff.
was like, oh my gosh.
And you take it back behind Bennett's.
Yeah.
Right? Another weird thing about Ocean Shores is if you go into a lot of the homes like we do, because we're realtors, you see all kinds of decor, like wild decor. We're talking about huge antlers on the wall. Oh, and another thing that I see a lot are the wood carvings, like of the bears. And these can be like huge wood carvings of bears and just all kinds of different animals. And it's really unique here. We actually have huge events every year, like the Sawdust Festival.
Yeah, you can see the
Yeah.
guys like doing the carving. Yeah.
And we have a video that we'll link if you want to see more about that. But people deck out their homes with them. And
They have a live auction at that event, and so they go for quite a bit of money.
yeah. And it's very, so the homes here can be very beach themed too.
I swear every house has a lighthouse, like some type of lighthouse decor, and there's even some houses that are built like that look like a lighthouse. So it's definitely like beach themes. People will decorate their yard with crab pots, old rowboats, and buoys, like
boats. And then owls. There's a lot of people have owl wood carvings outside of their house, and it's almost like every other house.
Yeah.
So if you know why people do this, drop it in the comments below, because I'd be really interested.
Yeah, a lot of
To learn
people
why.
on Duck Lake have them on their docks too. Another different thing coming from the city is pretty much everyone here has a truck, and so many people have trailers and RVs. You'll drive down the
Including you
street.
guys.
Yeah, well now that we live here, and I used to drive a Camry when I lived in the city. Now I drive a truck. And we actually inherited a trailer, a camping trailer too. So now we're part of the club. But you'll drive, and it's very sought after. People want to have space for their RV parking. So you'll see on a lot of the new builds, they'll do RV hookups, and like big parking spaces for everyone's toys.
Another thing about Ocean Shores is everyone eats seafood and those weird little razor clams. Have you ever heard of a razor clam? If not, we have a video we'll link about razor clam digging. If you've ever seen a gooey duck, they look just like that, but smaller.
I had never been razor clamming until we moved here. I think I had razor clam chowder and things like that before, but I'd never actually seen the razor clam. People come from all over to go razor clamming, and you'll see at many of the restaurants they have razor clam chowder, and they're really good. They're very sweet. When you don't overcook them, they have a really good texture. If you like seafood, there's plenty of that here.
Another thing is you'll see people on the beach collecting all kinds of rocks and seashells, and you might move here not really caring about that sort of thing, but then you walk on the beach a couple of times and all of a sudden you turn into one of those people looking for rocks and seashells and agate, and then next thing you know, you have a collection at your house, and it's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I used to make fun of my sister. She was like the rock collector, like, and I'd be like, why are you collecting these rocks? And then I sent her a picture the other day because I had my pockets full of all of these shells and rocks and agates and things, but yeah.
It becomes an addiction.
Yes, these weeds that are extremely prickly, they're called sand mats. And you won't notice them in the winter because I learned from the Coastal Interpretive Center that when everything's damp and they're healthy, they're soft and they're not prickly. But then in the summer months when things dry out, these things are so prickly and they stick to the bottom of your shoes. If you're wearing sandals, they might prickle on your feet. My dogs have walked in with like bleeding. Bears walked in and it was bleeding. So just be careful of these prickly weeds that are kind of all around Ocean Shores. They're called sand mats, and they said the only way to prevent them is just like watering your grass and keep making sure things don't dry out. Oh, another weird, and I got some hate on this, so we posted a video on our Instagram. But when I say weird, it just means it's different from living in Seattle versus living in Ocean Shores. So, but when we first moved here, our neighbors brought us a pie and just left it on our front doorstep. We've had neighbors bring over beer or wine or like a plate of food. The neighbors are just so friendly and nice, and they'll watch out for you. They picked up our trash when the bear got into our garbage, and I never had that experience living in Seattle.
So nice.
I don't know about you, but like we lived next to the same people for forever, and all we would do is wave to each other and then don't know a thing about each other.
Yeah, everyone minds their own business. Nobody wants to like ask questions.
Yeah.
Get in your business.
It's like the Seattle freeze, they call it.
They do
like,
call it that, yeah.
People are nice enough, but they don't want to inconvenience themselves, or, they just mind their own business and go about their own way. But it's very different here. You'll drive down the street and anyone that's walking is gonna wave at you, which was a big culture shock in the beginning too, because most people in Seattle are looking down. They're not trying to make eye contact. They're just going about their business. But here it's just kind of a slower paced life, and
It's more laid back.
Yeah.
People aren't in such a rush here, and they're just not like focused internally. And it's just a different kind of mentality.
Definitely.
And I really like that.
I do too.
So,
it was so nice.
sweet.
The other day when I was driving here, this couple, they were walking their dogs, and they were kind of just in the middle of the street. And so I just kind of slowed down and went to just get their attention a little bit. And the man comes around, and I waved at him a bunch of times driving by, and he says like, "Hey, I think I've met your husband before, and just want you guys to know if you ever need anything, I probably have it. And the beer's always cold and the coffee's always brewing." I was like, oh my gosh, it was just so nice.
And it's how everybody should be, right?
Yeah.
Just slow things down and take a breath and get to know your neighbor and just be friendly.
Yeah.
So another thing that's crazy about Ocean Shores is that you could be walking down the street, and then all of a sudden you see an unleashed dog, but then you look again and it's a coyote. Like they just kind of walk around. They don't really bother anybody, but occasionally you'll just see one kind of walking through, maybe walking down the street. But they're pretty cool. There's a lot of wildlife here, and it's interesting to see all of them and just kind of take videos when we can. Whenever I see them though, it's like so fast that I can never get my phone out in time to take any videos. But
Over by the North Jetty, they live, like there's these areas that are, it's like pretty much wetlands, but I feel like they live in that area because I see them all the time now. But yeah, it's so different, and I didn't know moving here that there was so much wildlife, Another different thing about Ocean Shores is and this is comparing to Seattle, where we moved from. There are so many very affordable waterfront properties, and you can get anything from the bayfront to lakefront to oceanfront.
Canal front.
So
many.
Yeah, and there's there's 23 miles of fresh waterways. And then the ocean and the bay. There's so many different kinds of waterfront properties just in this little tiny space. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And the next weird thing is you'll be just sitting in your house all nice and quiet, and all of a sudden you hear this blaring tsunami warning. And I swear the first time I heard it, I kind of freaked out because I didn't know it was a warning, because I couldn't really make out exactly what they were saying. But I did hear the word tsunami, and I kind of freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, should I get in my car and head out? But they do this maybe once a week, every couple.
Yeah, I'm not sure
couple
exactly
weeks or
how
so.
often. Yeah, every couple weeks, and it's like move to higher ground. But then it says this is only a test. So,
but you don't hear that part right away.
I know.
So if you're new to Ocean Shores, just kind of be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And don't get too frightened. Because I think you'll get a text. If there's an actual tsunami warning, you should also get a text. And if you're not signed up for that, make sure you sign up for that.
A couple of the comments, because people added to weird things that they thought about Ocean Shores. So Brett, 1969 PNW, so Brett from the Pacific Northwest said the weirdest things are the fences made of driftwood, crab floats, and rope.
Weird. At 5-Pack Love said, I'm headed to the beach today, but not OS. I think it's weird when people wear shoes on the beach.
Rebel said, nope, none of that is weird. It's wonderful.
And then at Free Play 775 says, I hate ocean shores. What a nasty, cold, weird place with horrible, windy, dark, messy, stinky beaches. It's not for everyone, but we love it.
Wolfie said, you think it's weird that people live on the ocean and eat seafood? Welcome to the Pacific Northwest, the most beautiful place on earth. And I agree 100%.
Yes.
This is coming from someone who doesn't really eat meat. I mostly just eat seafood.
So this is like a dream come true for you.
Yeah. And then Lisa Mary said, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. If you or anyone you know is considering ocean shores, shoot us an email. We'd love to be your real estate resource.
Yes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.